Good afternoon, guys. It is December 18th, 2025. On this video here, I'm going to go over the common service techniques for your vacuum cleaner. Now, this is a bagged vacuum cleaner. This is generally what we'll do. This one is a perfect example of just a general vacuum cleaner. And this model in particular is the Hoover wind tunnel bagged vacuum cleaner. Now, Hoover sold a lot of these, particularly back in the 90s and 2000s. This one's a newer version. They don't make these anymore, unfortunately, but if you happen to have one of these, this is how to maintain it. And if you happen to run across one of these in a thrift store or at a garage sale or something, I would definitely pick it up. These are really great machines. They last a long time. They're very durable and rugged for a plastic machine, and they just don't make them like they used to. So today, what I'm going to do is show you how to change the belt and the bag on one of these. So, first off, we're going to start with the bag, because that's probably the first thing that most people are going to have to change. So, first of all, you want to make sure that your vacuum is unplugged before you do any work on your machine. So that's step number one. Step number two is you want to get this, trying to get into a position where I can get to this. Okay, so step number two is you want to remove your bag door. There's a spot where you push down and then you pull the cover off. Now, when your bag gets full, then you should change it. This one isn't completely full, but it's pretty packed. It's like a sack of dirt. So what you're gonna do is there's a cardboard piece in the back here. You're gonna make sure that you pull that out by the cardboard, and just kind of give it a little twist and gently pull it off. Now this is actually a pretty full bag. It's fuller than I thought it would be. And I like to write the date of when I install the bags on the cardboard collar. I'm going to set that aside. Now, one other tip is I would put some tape or something over the hole here to minimize disturbing the dirt, especially if you have allergies or asthma or anything like that. Now, while you're in here, there is a filter down here that you also want to check. Just take that cover off, and most of the time there shouldn't be a lot on this filter, but if there's a little bit of debris, that's not the biggest deal. This is just a secondary filter for if the bag ever decided to explode or something, you wouldn't have dirt going down into your motor. Now, you absolutely do not want to run one of these without a bag in place, because that will destroy your machine and dramatically reduce the life of the motor, if not completely destroy the motor. So, grab something here. Okay. So, that's it. That's all clean. And there's also another filter on the side here. This is the final exhaust filter. This isn't too bad, but there shouldn't really be much on this. If there is anything, you might want to check your motor. And I can do an in-depth video on that in the future. Getting into it deeper to inspect it, but there shouldn't be anything in there. Now, this takes the Hoover style Y bags. Now, you can get either paper bags like this, or you can get higher quality cloth bags like that. These are better and they hold a lot more, but they are more expensive. I do have more of those, but I found these really cheap and they'll work. So what I like to do is write the date of installation. So yeah. So there you go. I just write it on the cardboard collar. Then you're going to take your bag, kind of open it up, and then you want to gently place it over the hole here. Make sure that it is seated on there. It's all the way back. Make sure that it's flush. You don't want it to leak or give you any problems. And you're just going to tuck your bag back in. And then take your cover and close it. So there we go. There's the bag changed and the filters checked. Now, next you want to, if you need to change your belt, which I recommend you do, belts should be replaced about every 6 to 12 months on average as a general rule, but it can go longer. It just depends on how often you use your vacuum cleaner. So you're just going to flip it over like this, and then there are 4 screws on the bottom that you're going to remove. And again, make sure your vacuum cleaner is unplugged. don't want your vacuum plugged in. The safety precaution. So it's extremely important that it's unplugged when you're working on the bottom here, because if that switch accidentally gets bumped and this thing starts to turn, you can really hurt yourself. So never ever want it plugged in when you're doing work. So and our last screw here. There we go. Now you want to pull your bottom plate off. And there we go. Now I'm going to take your brush tool out. It just pops out like that. And slide it out of your belt. Now as you can see, there's some things wrapped around this brush. And you don't want that. You want to pull it all off, if at all possible. And take a pair of scissors and cut all the hair off as well, if it's not going to come off easy. Now you don't want hair and stuff left on your brush. I see a lot of people who service their vacuums, they don't take the time to clean off their brush, but it is very important. You know, you really don't want any of this stuck on your brush, because if it builds up enough, it can get into the ends here and ruin your bearings, and it can ruin your brush too. It can mash down bristles, just really shorten the life of your brush. So then you can take these caps off the end here, and if you have another vacuum cleaner, now is the time to grab it. I know not everybody does, but this is the dirty part that you want to vacuum out. Same thing on the other side. Alright, so now what you want to do is replace the caps. Now, the cap with the oval end, it goes on the end without the belt, so over here. So, you want that, and then they're color coded. Cap with the round end goes on the side with the belt. So the round ended cap is black, and the squared off end is gray. So there's that. Now you want to take your belt out. And this takes a Hoover style 160 belt. Hoover style 160. 160. That's for Hoover. And then take your new belt. Now before you do that, there is this chamber here that slides out. And you see how grimy that is? See all this buildup? You want to clean that out if you have another vacuum while you have this open. Clean off the base plate too. Okay. And if you happen to have like a wipe or something, you can wipe this down. Ideally, that's what I would do, but I don't have any right at my fingertips. And for the sake of this video, I'm just gonna leave it as is. So, okay, so we've got our brush roll cleaned, we've got our housing cleaned there. Now we need a new belt. And once again, this takes the Hoover style 160 belt. And this is a common belt. You can find these on eBay. You can find them probably at Walmart and places like that. It's a common belt. But if you see, here's the new belt. Do you see how stretched out this old belt is? Yeah, it's worn out, and I think I've had this belt in here since 2023, so it was due for a new belt. Now you do want to make sure that this motor shaft back here, there's a little pin back here. You do want to make sure that it's clean. There's nothing crazy going on with it. So I'm gonna get you in closer here. So you do want to make sure that it's clean. There's nothing on it, so I'm not worried. But if there's rust or something, you do want to clean it off. So I'm just gonna loop the belt around the motor pulley there. I'm going to take my brush roll. I'm going to put this little space here that has no bristles. That's going to go through the belt. And then, with the new belt, it's going to be tight. So you may have to kind of give it a tug of war here, but it'll go in. Just have to be patient with it. And use your muscles so. Okay. belt. Center. There. You want the brush to be seated properly. I will tell you that it's not an easy task. As you can see, brand new belt is often really tight. But it does help to get the other end in if you can. It's not always ideal. You do want to stretch that in place. So isn't wanting to line up for me. Of course, because I'm on camera, it's not wanting to cooperate. But I'll get it. So here we go. Like I said, not easy. Just take your time with it. Be sure to there it goes. And you want the square end lined up. There we go. And you want to rotate it a couple times. Make sure that the belt is lined up. You don't want it to be pinched when you put the cover back on. So now we're going to put the cover back on. There's one nub that goes into a slot here. And close that up. And then take your 4 screws that we removed earlier. I'm going to put them back in to those 4 holes. And this will help your vacuum perform like new again. The belt may not be broken, but it may be stretched to the point where it doesn't clean as effectively or the brush stops. And sometimes you'll smell a little bit of a burnt smell, like burnt rubber. That's the belt. So if you smell burnt rubber, you know something's up with the belt. It probably needs to be replaced. And you also want to make sure your brush spins freely. When it's loose, you always want to check that, because if your brush does not spin freely, you're going to end up burning out belts, and that's not going to be good. And this is just regular service and maintenance, and eventually, 5, 10, 15 years down the road, this brush roll will start to wear, and the bristles will become just worn down, brittle, sparse, not really as efficient as it ought to be. So you can get new brush rolls for these on eBay for about $15-20, and they'll be good as new. So yeah, so that about does it. Put this back up. And the cover doesn't like to stay on mine if it's tipped. So as you can see, the bag cover likes to come off, but it's okay. It stays on when it's operating, so I'm not worried about it, but just want to put it back on. And that's it. That's how you service one of these Hoover wind tunnel vacuums. Really not a hard task. Pretty simple, pretty easy, and quite frankly, if you do this once a year, it'll serve you for years and years and years to come. This thing is almost 15 years old, and it still works great. And I do believe it'll serve me for many more years to come. So anyway, if you found this helpful, please let me know. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.